We're on the road with Mickey, we're gonna have some fun. Regardless of the rain or sun, our trip has just begun. So buckle up, let's go, we're about to start the show. And maybe if you like us, you'll see where else we'll go. Hi everybody, I'm Sophie, he's Mike, and she's Brenda, and welcome to On the Road with Mickey. If you're returning for another adventure with us, welcome back. We are so glad you have returned safely. And if this is your first episode with us and you're new here, welcome. It's so nice to meet you, and I'm going to show you the reins today. First up, we have our Cheddar from the Big Cheese, which is basically our Disney news snippets. And then after that, we have our feature topic, which is what we talk about for most of the episode. And then after that, we have our This Day in Disney History, brought to you by me. And after that is our game of Who's Who, and that is brought to you by Mike, my dad. Oh, fair warning, I'm almost never wrong when it comes to this game. I almost always win it. And then after that, Brenda will be giving us a quote from the big man himself, Walt Disney, and it's just going to be amazing. So buckle up, keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the car at all times. Make sure you're safe, fasten your seatbelts, all that good stuff. And we will see you on the road. It's time to get going. Let's go!
Hey everyone, I'm Mike, and she's Sophie,
And she's Brenda.
Hi, everyone.
and we're on the road with Mickey. This is season 2, episode 12 for March 22nd, 2021, and we are continuing our look at our top rides at Disney. This week we are focusing on Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and we have a lot of fun planned, and I think that it's going to open up a whole discussion about what's your favorite ride, what's my favorite ride, why did he pick that ride over this ride, and I just can't wait to see what people think of our selections. So
Did
we're
you
going
see
to
what
get into
happened with
that.
the poll? Everest
Oh yeah,
versus
yeah,
Flight of
yeah, yeah.
Passage. I was surprised.
Yeah, do
Hmm
you have that up right there?
I don't, but yesterday it was 16 to 14 in favor of Everest, if you can believe it.
That's right. It was. It was. Thank you for
Yeah.
mentioning that because I'd forgotten to look it up.
I
But
was
yeah,
Oh, wow.
so sorry, Sophie, but Brenda and I were right.
still 16 to 14, so yep, Everest won.
Everest
Surprise,
wins.
surprise.
Okay. So anyway,
Well,
it's close though. It was
um,
close.
I see where our following stands then.
Yep.
I
Yep. They're
have to
like,
say that one of the posts was about the fact, and who was that?
was it
Um,
Kristen's post about how her mom loves Everest?
No, it was someone. Oh, it is Victoria Kent's post, and she said that her husband can't ride it because he's too tall. So we
Yeah.
have to remember that when we're talking about Flight of Passage versus Everest,
Oh,
because everyone fits in Everest, but yes, some people cannot ride Flight of
Yeah,
Passage.
you're absolutely right. You're
you're
absolutely right.
right.
That's a really good point. And I didn't even think about it. And I saw her comment, and then I forgot all about that as well. But
Yeah,
but yeah, you're right. It takes a certain
body
physique
type. Yes,
physique.
that's right.
But the real reason though is that Sophie's just a kid, and what do those kids know anyway?
Kid, I will have you know that I will be 20 in June.
In
I
And
keep
June.
on
kid,
forgetting about that. Oh
kid.
my gosh, I'm so old.
Oh, you're killing us.
Good one, honey. Good one. I love
Mm,
you, sweetie.
you're still the fairest of them all.
Anyway,
Too old, man. Yeah,
anyway,
cheddar from the big cheese.
let's get on to Cheddar from the Big Cheese, shall we?
Yeah.
I saw a really interesting article about annual pass holders for Walt Disney World and how you can, if you live in the United Kingdom, not talking about the country in Epcot, but the real United Kingdom in Europe, that you are able to buy a Walt Disney World annual pass.
Were they
And
able to actually do it?
I saw a link and it takes you over to the European page for Disney World. I didn't actually do it. I didn't actually able to go through the steps. And I think that might be because of where I am, being in the States and whatnot.
Sure.
But I thought that was really interesting. And I don't have, if you live in Europe or in the United Kingdom and you are able to buy an annual pass for Walt Disney World, would you reach out to us and let us know? Because I'm kind of taking this a little bit with a grain of salt right now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
because I've tried to buy the annual pass and it lets me go all the way through like I'm going to get it. And then at the end, it doesn't let me. So I'm wondering if they're having that experience or if they're actually able to follow through.
Yeah. So if someone has been able to buy one or get to that point where they put in the credit card and don't or whatever, reach out to us. Let us know. I'm real curious, and I'm also curious to see if this might be a precursor to what might come for
Yes.
those of us in the States. Just my wife Cindy had a thought that perhaps annual passes would be opened up for Floridians to be able to purchase if they don't have one. And also maybe like people in the Southeast, how they had remember they had that promotion last year when they
Yes.
first
The
reopened where if you
skirting
lived in
states to
certain
Florida.
state, you
Yes.
could take advantage of the promotion because you could drive
Right.
and whatnot. Um, and so I wonder if maybe the same sort of thing might apply with annual passes. I
You
don't
never
know.
know.
This is all speculation world. You're in Mike's head now, so I
I
think you should be
know.
scared.
I need to be bumping Texas over some so we can be a bordering state because we
I
drive too,
know. I mean, there's that water. Just build a long bridge,
a really long
a
bridge.
really long bridge.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Talk to God, have him split it halfway down the middle.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Anyway, let's get back
Anyway,
on track. Sophie, what do you have?
well, there is a new nighttime show that Disney is working on for Epcot, and it is called Harmonious. And last week, testing was done on the way it shoots out water as part of the show. So it's kind of like when I say shoots out water, I'm kind of getting vibes of World of Color over in
That's kind of
Disneyland.
what I am
That's what
too.
I would
Yeah.
think. Yep.
Yeah, so basically what we're saying is that they are doing the test runs for the new show, and that means that it's closer to coming out and we can actually see what it's all about.
Yeah. Every test they do is hopefully one test less that
Mhm.
they have to do because they've got it all worked out. Um,
Yep.
so
That's
hopefully,
Yeah.
right.
uh,
Yay. Well, and don't forget, we covered the new rooms and what they look like last time at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, and the rooms have been themed after Moana, and they can be booked now for starting arrival July 19th, 2021. So if you're looking to book that, contact Mike at pixievacations.com or me at Brenda at pixievacations.com, and we'll get you set up.
all
I
right,
have one more thing if I can add it because I'm dying over here.
go for it.
What?
Oh my gosh. So on Friday, which when this airs will be the previous Friday, Falcon and the Winter Soldier starts on Disney Plus. I'm dying to see it.
Tell
I've
me
been
about it.
waiting with bated breath. Well, Falcon and Winter Soldier is the Marvel series, of course. They've done that.
Oh,
This is a series of apparently six episodes. So
Mm.
if you don't know who Falcon and Winter Soldier are, Winter Soldier was Captain America's best friend in the 40s, in the 1940s. And then Falcon is Captain America's best friend today. So Captain America, he was a war hero. He was the one that punched Adolf Hitler, and then he's been like ongoing, but
Mm.
he retired um, recently and went and started living his life he missed while he was
Okay.
adventure. So anyway, I won't give too much away, but it's starting and I'm beside myself with excitement. Cannot wait. So when this airs, it will have shown on Friday, which means anyone listening right now can see it already.
Okay.
So exciting.
wow.
I haven't seen it. I haven't heard of it. I am
I'm a
not
Marvel
at
freak.
all a Marvel person at all. I don't know anything,
Oh my
Brenda.
gosh.
We need to
Well,
have like a Disney Plus watch party where you walk us through
oh, that'd be fun.
all the things we need to be
Oh
seeing.
my gosh, that's a
The
lot.
only the only problem is that for some reason not all of the Marvel movies are on Disney Plus. I tried finding The Incredible Hulk, it was not there, and
Yes.
Jagan has been berating me
Uh-oh.
non-stop to watch it so that I can watch WandaVision for her.
WandaVision's fantastic.
I haven't
Now it
seen
Yeah.
ends
any
though, and so
WandaVision.
now we have this to start, so that's good.
Mhm.
I'm getting so far behind in my Disney Plus watching.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh well, we both are. We still haven't seen Raya and the Last Dragon yet.
Haven't
No.
seen that yet either. We'll have to talk about that when we see it though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Anyway, just had to mention that because I'm so excited.
All right.
I'm glad you're excited, Brenda. You need to tell us next week what you thought of it.
Yay!
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, just a reminder, reach out to us on our Facebook group, on the Road with Mickey group, YouTube. Subscribe, like our posts, leave us comments. We love the interaction we get from our listeners and our friends, because that's what you guys are. You're not just listeners, you're friends. And we're on Instagram, on the Road with Mickey. Email us, info@ontheroadwithmickey.com. Leave us a voicemail, 919-799-8390. Um,
Awesome.
just find some way to reach out to us and shoot us an email, leave us a text, leave us a comment, whatever. And we look forward to hearing from you.
For
Mhm.
Um,
sure.
so we are in part 2 of 3. This is our top rides at Epcot and Hollywood Studios. I say part 2 of 3 because next week we are going to look at those West Coast parks, Disneyland and California Adventure Park, and we are going to give our top rides from those parks next week.
Yeah.
But this week we're looking at Epcot and Hollywood Studios. I went first last week, so I'm going last this week. Brenda
Mhm.
is going first, and Sophie's going to go first next week.
Yep.
Awesome.
So, Brenda, we're starting with Epcot.
Epcot number 5, right? Just like
Okay.
last time.
Just like last
Mhm.
time.
Okay. Well, my number 5 ride at Epcot is Living with the Land.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
Living with the Land is a boat ride through the Epcot greenhouses where they have innovative ways to grow food and they actually use that food at the
Mhm.
restaurants at Epcot. And I just
Mhm.
enjoy it.
I do
I mean,
too.
it's a slow
I
boat ride
enjoy
and
a bunch.
I like how they decorate it for the holidays and put things
Yeah.
in there. And
Yep.
it's just nice. It's a nice, the first time I rode it, I was very impressed with things like hydroponics and things like that, but I still enjoy it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's my number 5.
I got a story.
Oh, all right.
Mhm.
So, our friends, Joy and Beth, they're friends of ours up here in North Carolina. They went to Disney on the college program,
Oh, awesome.
and Joy was one of the boat speakers or whatever. Back when Living with the
Mm.
Land was like they had the tour guide telling the story of everything.
Yes.
She was one of those for the ride.
Wow.
That was fantastic.
And so that's my connection to Living with the Land. And I love
Great.
how the Garden Grill restaurant upstairs circles around you. You can see some of the scenes from the ride below.
Yeah.
That to me is
Yeah.
what sells it more than
Well, and
anything.
plus Mickey's at Garden Grill, so
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
we like
So
him a little bit.
a little bit. So anyway, that's my Living with the Land story.
Awesome. So who is going next today? Is it Sophie?
Sophie's
Yes,
going
it would be
next.
me.
Awesome.
And my number 5 is Journey into Imagination with Figment.
I like that one too. That's great.
Yeah, I really enjoy that ride. And for the longest time, I actually thought that it was something else, and I was far too scared to go into that building because I thought it was something called Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, which I didn't realize was over in Hollywood Studios, I believe. And I just thought that it was like It's Tough to Be a Bug, but bigger. So I did not enjoy that at all. But then when I found out what was actually inside that building, I was like, okay, let's go give it a try.
Yeah.
And I was so happy with it. It was such a great ride. And the only thing I didn't like about it would have to be the smell part where they make you smell skunk spray, which is disgusting.
Yeah, well,
It
got it.
is what it is.
Some surprise. I think Honey, I Shrunk the Audience was actually at Epcot. I think it's where the Pixar shorts are now.
Yeah,
But
it
they
was
had a
the movie
playground
part.
for Honey, I Shrunk the Audience in Hollywood Studios
You're
with
right.
big ants and things like that.
Yeah,
You're right.
I really enjoyed that playground. That playground was fun.
My kids loved that one. It was
Mhm.
fun. And the pictures, any pictures you took there were awesome because I mean, it looked so incredibly real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
it
great
did.
choice.
Mhm.
What about you, Mike?
Well, my number 5 ride at Epcot, I had trouble picking my order for these 5. I probably started stopped a couple of times, but my number 5 ride is Test Track, and I actually um I like the way you build your car now, whereas before you didn't. You kind of were going through all that and everything, but it's a tough one for me. I like it a lot. I was torn between that and Mission Space, um, because I have a cool story about Mission Space. But I'll make that like my honorable mention. But my number 5 is Test Track, and I like how fast it goes when you go out in the open air part.
Mhm.
I don't like that it closes so fast so much, you know, but it's a good ride and it's fun. And when we built our car, I think Randy and I were on one side, and I think Jagan and Sophie were on another car, and we beat them. So that made it like number 5 status over Mission Space. So there you go.
I gotcha. Yeah, they have to close that one down sometimes, but I know that I'm missing doing the car too now that, you can't because of COVID.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. That's true. So,
It'll come
so
back.
that's number 5.
Great.
So,
Great.
so
Awesome.
number
Okay.
4, Brenda.
Okay. Well, I chose this one for number 4. These were a little hard for me too, but I chose Frozen Ever After.
Okay.
And of course, it used to be Maelstrom, and now you ride through the wooden Viking ship still, except that you go in the world of Frozen. So, I chose that really because of the music. I love the music from Frozen. I mean,
Hmm.
I I when I first saw that movie, it the music was magnificent. And then when I saw the second one, to me the music was even better.
Yeah,
So it's like I write it for the music, really.
I hear
Hmm.
you. I hear you.
What about you, Sophie? What's your number 4?
My number 4 is actually Mission Space.
Okay. Why is
All
it number
right.
4?
Well, I just it's weird. A lot of the rides that I was terrified to go on when I was younger actually turn out to be my favorite rides.
Yeah.
And Mission Space was one of those rides. I
Oh
heard
yeah.
all these things about people being sick on and after
Having
the
heart
ride.
attacks.
That was me.
You
Yeah,
were
all
sick on
that
it?
stuff.
Oh my God, for a month after it.
Mm.
Oh
Because I
no.
wrote it the second day it opened. It was open. Well, I was so excited about it. And literally, we wrote it. The next day I flew home, and for a month, I had to be on meclizine for vertigo.
Oh
It
my.
was it.
Oh.
I never rode it again. I know they changed it to where now there's a green
Uh-huh.
part I should be able to go in, but I haven't because I'm, it affects you when you go through something like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people love it, and I'm glad because everyone's different.
So
They
I
just
have
get that
here. I'm gonna
lucky.
since Sophie picked that as her number 4, I'm gonna tell my story now. It involves our friend River, right, Sophie?
Oh yeah.
So I'd never ridden it. I had no interest in riding it at all. I was reading the same thing. I drank the same Kool-Aid as Sophie. I had no interest whatsoever in riding this ride because I'm like, I don't want to. If it's got a barf bag, I don't want it.
Exactly.
And I heard about people having heart attacks, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I'm not riding it. Well, Little River Sug was 4,
Uh-oh.
and she went on it, and she absolutely loved that ride. And she's like, Mike, it is so much fun. Let's go on it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this 4-year-old is calling me a chicken. And it was so cool. And we rode the green, and we've only ridden the green, and I don't have any interest in riding the orange, especially after you got sick. I have no interest. Um, but it was so funny, and she was so focused. She sitting, and so it was her dad Neil, and then her, and then me, and I think Sophie was next to me or something.
Yeah,
And
I
River
was
was
next to you.
and River was like looking at someone else on our row who wasn't doing what they were, and she's
Uh-oh.
like, Daddy, he's not pushing his button. And I'm like, oh boy. And Neil was like, it'll be okay.
Yeah, that is
And
funny.
it was, but it was so awesome. It was so awesome. That
Oh,
was like one of my best ride stories ever. This little
yay.
4-year-old,
That is a
this little
great one.
4-year-old, you know, makes me feel like a chicken for not riding.
Yeah.
And
I have
now
a feeling
it's a
that
great ride. It's,
I have
it,
a feeling that River would really enjoy Smuggler's Run then.
oh, she probably would. She probably would.
Yep.
But
Similar
anyway,
Yeah.
story happened to me on Smuggler's Run where an adult was doing exactly what River was doing. She was having a fit because the person at the engineering spot wasn't pressing their button. Really funny.
Yeah.
oh boy. So
What's
anyway,
your 4, Mike?
my
Number
number
4.
4 on my list is Frozen Ever After, Brenda.
I'll be dang. There we go again. Last week
So,
was 3 out of 5.
you
I think
know,
we're up 1.
I miss I miss it not being Maelstrom, but
I do too.
I'm like you. I love the music of Frozen so much so I got a whole series of posts about the music,
Oh,
and how I thought Frozen when I first heard it in the theater. I thought this could be on Broadway
oh, for
because the
sure.
music was that good.
And I've seen it
Turns out,
on the
yeah.
ship. Seen it on the Disney. Yep, on the Wonder.
Turns out it is on Broadway.
Yeah, but it wasn't then. Um, but I love. I mean, we even did a podcast about the music of Disney last year, like early on. And one of the things that I really like is how some of the songs have different meanings. Like Do You Want to Build a Snowman is both, it's got like hope, and it's
Mm,
got sadness, and
Yes.
it's got a longing to reclaim your childhood, and it's just like all that is wrapped into one song, and it's
Yeah.
just so
All the
it's
yeah.
just
feels.
powerful, it's
Yeah.
powerful. So so
True.
anyway, that it's a great ride because of the music, and also because a lot of it is still Maelstrom kind of driven.
Yep.
um
Hmm.
I don't like the length of the line that you get with it. I'll tell you
No.
that right
Gotta
now.
catch it at a good time for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I remember this one time with Frozen Ever After. Um, Jagan, Uncle Randy, and Aunt Sheila and we were going to go on it,
mm,
and we waited like 2 hours in that line or something.
Yeah.
And then when we finally got into the last section, like we didn't even get to the boat, we got into the room where you board the boats, only to find out that the ride was down, and
Oh,
they
no.
said it would be back up shortly. So we ended up waiting another half hour in that line, not moving,
Mm-hmm.
only to be told, yeah, it's not going to be back up. I'm sorry.
That happens
So,
sometimes for sure.
ugh, it's infuriating.
Yeah.
Yeah, but always be nice to the cast members because there's
Mm,
nothing they can do.
yes,
Exactly.
that is
Exactly.
true.
You're
They do
absolutely
That's
their
right.
happened
best
on
every
many
time,
rides.
and they deserve to be credited for it.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
We love them.
Brenda, what's your next one?
Okay, well, my number 3 is Spaceship Earth.
I love Spaceship
Mm.
Earth.
And if you've ridden Spaceship Earth or if you haven't, it's just a calm, interesting ride. Starts in the Stone Age and ends up in the digital age. And it just goes through history and has some special other things you can do while you're riding that are
Mm-hmm.
personal. I like it. I always ride it. That's one of those rides where you always ride it. Every time you go, you
Yeah.
ride it. I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
yep, that's my number 3. That's all I can
Mm.
say about that. What about you, Sophie?
Well, my number 3 is your number 5, and that is Living with the Land.
Yay!
Okay.
I love Living with the Land, and for all of the reasons that you said, but I also love it because it's relaxing, it's cool, and I mean that
That's true.
temperature wise and in the way of, hey, this is awesome, this is so cool, that way too. And it's educational, so I could use it as an excuse to go to Disney during school. So long as I ride that ride, it's educational. It teaches me science.
It does teach you science for sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's educational without feeling educational.
Yeah.
That's what's so much of so cool about Epcot. It's so much of that you're learning things you don't even, especially if you're younger, you don't even realize that that's bleeding into your brain. That you just
Yeah,
think you're having fun.
Yeah.
So, and
that's right.
I think one of my favorite scenes on Living with the Land is the house and how
Yeah.
it's like it reminds me of the house from Wizard of Oz.
Me too. I always go when we pass that part and the dog's barking.
Unfortunately, we've never run into a tornado on it.
Yeah.
but but I really like how the way Disney, the Imagineers do such an incredible job of painting a picture. And
Yeah.
whenever I'm near that, I'm like, dude, I can just feel myself living that world, living in that time period, and
Yeah.
having that dirt road up to the house, and there's my
Hmm.
mailbox, and just it's just you feel like you are in that world. So
Yeah.
that's why I like it so cool. I think it's so neat. But it's not on my top five.
Mm,
It's not on your top
whatever.
It made
5.
the cutting room floor though.
Yeah.
Well, what is your number 3?
My number three is a ride that Sophie loves. I hope she still loves,
Of
and that
course
is
I still
the
love it.
that is the Grand Fiesta Tour starring the Three Caballeros.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I mean, it is such a fun ride. It's so corny. Donald is so Donald, but it is fun. You
It
know,
is. It
it's
is.
just so neat, and it's just you see all these things, and it's just cool.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
Sophie, that
That's a
used
good
to be
choice.
like her top ride. That
Yeah.
used to be like
That
the
was her
top ride, or
go-to.
or number two at Epcot was the Grand Fiesta Tour, and it's still up there, and I just love it. It's just a like Living with the Land. It's relaxing, like Spaceship Earth. It's relaxing and cool and neat. Um, it's just a lot of
Hmm.
fun. So
It
I
is.
agree.
and right now, before the fireworks reopen, it is one of the few places you can go and see fireworks.
That's true.
Oh, you're right.
When you get around to the Mexico City scene and you see the fireworks going off over the buildings, I'm
Yep.
like, there's your fireworks for the day.
There you go.
Yeah.
In the air conditioning.
In the air
And they're
conditioning.
quiet, so they help for those of us that are sensitive to loud noises.
Right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All
Very
right.
good.
So
That's a good choice.
Brenda, thank you. So
Number
Brenda, what's
2.
number 2 on your list?
Well, unlike my compadre over there, who I can tell from his background picture did not pick this as number 2, I did. It's Soarin' Around the World. Soarin' is my number 2. If you haven't ridden Soarin', it's like a hang gliding adventure through like the 7 miracles of the earth. I don't know. Anyway,
7
you
Wonders
know,
of the World.
I have to say that when Soarin' was over California, I felt like the perspective was much better handled. And I mean, of course, if you're sitting in the center, you're seeing everything perfectly. And whether you were over California or over the world, it was the same. But I mean, I can be 2 seats off center in this one. And Leaning Tower Pizza has nothing on these things. I mean, everything is skewed to this the screen. I don't know, but if you're right in the middle, everything's perfect. But if you're on the sides,
It's a little
everything's
off.
crooked.
Yeah.
So it kind of it
Brings
doesn't
it
give me
down
the
for you.
comfort feeling I used to have as much with the California, but I still love Soarin'. I mean, we ride that every time too. It's
Oh yeah.
it's just so wonderful. The smells and the breeze and
Mhm.
it's wonderful. I mean, yeah, the only thing I have against it that made it number 2 was just that weird factor of the illusion of everything laying on its side.
We yeah. And we had done a poll. I can't remember. I'll see if I can find it about which people like more,
Oh,
soaring
awesome.
around the world or soaring over California.
How did you? And what did they think?
And I gotta find the results. I can't remember. I gotta go look it up. This is months ago, right,
Oh,
Sophie?
okay.
I think they liked Soaring Around the World better, though.
I think so. But let me go search. I will tell you though that as far as soaring goes, um, I used to be a real chicken on that, didn't I, Sophie?
Oh, you had to
Yeah.
be on row 3, huh?
No,
I
he
I
wouldn't
don't
even
know
go
what it
on it.
Oh,
was,
wow.
but it was like a situation where I don't know, my ear was whacked out or something. I don't know. I don't know exactly. And and it was like I it just really bothered me.
Yeah.
The ride was that good that it just bothered me and I was not comfortable on it. And but then the first time I rode it with Cindy and Sophie, I was able to glance down and see that okay, I'm not that high as it felt like I
Yes.
was. And I'm like, okay, if something happens and I fall off this hang glider, then I'm probably just looking at a broken leg.
Yeah, you have
I
to
can
reason
deal
with
with
yourself
that.
sometimes. Sure. Well, and for the listeners who haven't gone on it, you do have to be 40 inches. So keep that in mind for the kiddos because the line can get quite long. So be
Yeah.
sure when you're planning that you remember this one's a 40-inch height
Mm-hmm.
requirement.
Yeah. But anyway. So
Well,
I can't
Okay.
find
anyway.
the poll. I'll keep looking for it.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
But
You have until I'm done here.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Miss Brenda, you said that Soren was not my dad's number 2. Well, it's my number 2.
Yay, we're twinsies again.
Yep. And the The only reason I didn't put it as my number one
Was?
is because I just like my number one more.
Well,
Well,
there you
that's a
go.
good reason.
I mean, yeah.
But if my number one did not exist, I would be very sad, but Soren would be my number one.
Mine too, for sure.
And I have to say that I don't particularly agree with you about Soren being skewed based on where you sit. Of course, I have only ever I haven't, it's not like I've sat on the far end of like the far row, so I wouldn't know from that angle, but from where I've sat, which is usually somewhere in the middle or like very close to the middle on one of the side rows, it has never seemed skewed to me. Of course, I may have just been caught up in the thrill of feeling like I'm flying, which is why I like Flight of Passage so much.
Yes.
Because when you described it as a view of heaven, Flight of Passage, I have to agree. Flying is like the closest thing I can get to being in heaven. I've always wanted to fly, which is one reason why every time I ride soaring, I'm always like, so when am I going to get to actually hang glide?
Well, you have your whole life in front of you.
I do. I want to go hang gliding someday.
Whole life in front of you. That's what's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Being 20 almost.
Yeah. Being almost 20.
Stop it.
Well, Mike, I'm
Anyway.
dying to know what your number two turned out to be.
Well, I'm going to say right off, psych! My number two is Soren.
I love it.
And I was, like I said, when just everyone listening, when we started recording today, I said, Brenda said, "How you doing, Mike?" And I said, "I'm running behind." So I grabbed the first picture I could that fit, and it was my picture of Soren.
Mm-hmm.
You
So
fooled me, Mike.
so Soren is number two on my list, and I can't find the poll, but I think you're right, Sophie. I think didn't they? What was it? They thought Soaring over California was better
I
than
thought they
Soaring around
thought
the world.
soaring over the world was better.
Soaring around the world. Okay,
Mhm, mhm.
I can't remember, but
Hmm.
you know what? Maybe that gives me a chance to do the poll again. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna do. Let's ask the question: what is your
Yes.
favorite, soaring around California or soaring around the world? I personally like soaring around California. I like the golf
I
ball.
like it too.
I
Mm-hmm.
like how if you're in the right spot, it's like the golf ball is gonna just like peg you right in the forehead.
Mhm, mhm.
Um,
And the smells. The
the
smells are
smells
awesome.
from the orange
Oh
grove,
yeah.
and I don't seem to notice those on the
As much, yeah.
as much around the new version. So tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Well, and while they're sending in their comments, because Sophie's comment has now made me feel a little uh concerned,
What?
can they also let us know if they've seen skewed images or if I have a brain tumor?
It's not.
Oh. Well, I mean, it's probably just like your perspective. You're probably more tuned into the detail than I am.
Or it could
Oh,
be your
well, I have a brain tumor.
glasses when you're riding the ride.
Yes, I always wear my glasses. I'm blind as a bat without them.
Okay, then
Yeah,
maybe it's
yeah.
something to do
I'm
with the glass.
curious to know if other people get that leaned
I'll look.
vision.
We'll be there April 1st to the 5th, and we'll
Mm-hmm.
be at
Yeah.
Epcot on April 2nd. So Sophie and I will make it a personal duty to ride
Yes.
soaring around the world,
And
You
I'll
are
be
such
sure to wear.
and
gamers.
we'll see
Yeah.
if we can't sit in one of the edges, or maybe we'll split up. I'll sit on one left side, Cindy and Sophia sit in the middle or something. I don't know. And we'll see what we can find out as far as that
Yeah.
goes.
And we'll be sure to wear our glasses.
Yep, because I'll
Thank
wear my
you.
glasses anyway most times.
That's very sweet. But if, I don't want you to take your time riding your ride and not enjoy it as much if you're seeing it that way, because I don't enjoy it as much seeing it that way.
Okay.
Well,
So, but I appreciate that.
I mean, I think I'll enjoy it either way, so
Yeah, I will. I know I will. But I'll be
yeah.
looking for that. And
Mhm.
we'll let you know,
Thank
Brenda.
you.
We'll report back.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So number 2 for me was Soarin'. So that brings us to the top dog at Epcot.
Oh,
Brenda,
my
what's the
top
top dog?
dog is Test Track.
Oh,
Really?
I
I
love
had
Test
that
Track.
way down at number 5, and you have it number 1.
Yep. I
it
love
hasn't
going
even made my
fast.
top 5.
I love the hairpin turns, brake testing, and when it goes out and just goes fast, I just love the rush. Just love
Okay.
it. Also,
So
a 40-inch height requirement for anybody listening out there who hasn't gone on it yet. Kids have to be 40 inches, and adults have to be 40 inches too. So,
Yeah.
but
you
yeah,
got
I
all
love
that
the
knowledge
thrill of
right up
going
there, don't
fast. My
you? You got
husband
that
says fast
knowledge
enough.
right there, don't you?
Yep.
Mhm.
I gotta look all that up. Sorry, clients. If you need to know a height requirement, talk to my friend Brenda.
They're
Yeah.
they're listed everywhere. You can't go into the ride without it. But I just wanted people to know if they're planning their first visit.
Yeah.
But I just like going fast. I mean, that's
Speed
all I
demon.
can say.
So quick question. Test track or Cars Land? Um
Oh wow.
Radiator Springs.
Radiator
I
Springs
love
Racers.
Radiator
Thank you.
Springs. I
Radiator
mean, really,
Springs.
there's no comparison.
Well, they both cars.
Oh no, Radiator Springs is awesome. I mean, you know.
I make myself laugh, people. That's all that matters.
Yeah, you make yourself laugh. Keyword being
Exactly.
yourself.
Well, when I want to see Radiator Springs Racers over here on this side of the world.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I
want to put
agree.
land over here.
Anyway, I guess it makes me have to go over there.
That's right.
Mhm.
Yay.
Anyway, okay.
So,
Sophie, what's your top dog for Epcot?
Mine is Spaceship Earth.
There you go.
Yeah,
Why?
and see, well, first things first, it is literally the first ride you see when you get into the entrance to Epcot.
From the main
And
entrance. Yep.
yeah, and as you know, Daddy, I am a huge history buff.
Mm-hmm.
And for the longest time, I wasn't. And I blame elementary school social studies for that. I did not like it. I did
Okay.
not like it at all. It was boring. And then
agreed.
Spaceship Earth, I rode Spaceship Earth, and I was like, you know what? This is actually pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, not only did Spaceship Earth literally shape my academic interests as a kid, but at the same time, it was like going on a huge adventure every time you rode it. Even though you knew what was going to happen and you knew what had happened, it just felt like you were seeing it over again until finally you get it ingrained into your memory. And then it's just like going back to all those scenes of the past that you enjoyed looking into and watching them again. It is the best way to see history, in my personal opinion. And although I wish I could just pick one of the scenes from the ride, go into that scene, and just experience it completely for a day, I can't, but this is as close as I'll get to it.
That's
Yeah.
true. If you
That's a
could, which scene would you pick?
good question.
If I had to pick only one, I would probably go for ancient Rome.
Me too, for sure.
Me
Yeah.
three.
Yes,
I
definitely.
was about to say ancient Egypt, And actually, you know what? I changed my answer, ancient Egypt, because I'm thinking with women's rights right now.
Oh.
Ancient Rome is better than ancient Greece, but in ancient women were actually considered to be equal to men. So, put me in ancient Egypt.
We'll go to Rome.
Yeah, because I was
Okay,
thinking about Dame Judi Dench and how she said that Rome was the world's first World Wide Web.
it was, yeah. Anyway,
There you
I'll
go.
see you soon, Julius Caesar.
Well,
Well, Mike, we have a drum roll.
yeah. So
What is your number one?
my number one ride at Epcot is also Spaceship Earth.
Well, look
And
at
it kind of
y'all.
makes sense because Sophie and I love that ride. And we would talk about it for months. When she was a little kid, we would talk about it for months before our next trip about
Oh,
how
yeah.
we're going to ride Spaceship Earth.
That's
Uh-huh.
great.
But my love for Spaceship Earth goes back 38 years. Excuse me. October 1, 1982 was the day that Epcot opened.
Uh-huh.
My first trip to Epcot was the following summer in 1983. And my grandma and grandpa took me, and we rode with two of their friends that were retirees as well and their grandson. And the six of us, and it was the time when I was 15 that summer. So I was old enough to do things on my own, you know.
Yeah.
His name. We were able to go do stuff in the park, and the grandparents just kind of took it easy, you know. And but riding Spaceship Earth that first time, I was hooked, you know. And it's been like, I mean, a couple of years back at one of the Pixie conferences, we had a really long event where we were discussing, you know, roundtable talks and stuff like that. And I had planned that day to go to Epcot. And when we finally were dismissed, I went over to Epcot, and it was so busy. I rode one ride, and it was Spaceship Earth. And that was the only ride I rode. Talk about wasting your money on a ticket. But it was awesome, you know? So and that, I mean, it is what it is. That's my OG, you know, as far as Epcot goes, you know. So
Right.
Sophie and I mean, we love it.
Yep.
No height requirement.
Nope.
Everyone can go on it.
And it's just
I've
awesome.
taken babies on it, so everyone can
It's like a time travel machine, you know?
Exactly like that.
It is.
So
Yay.
that is my number one choice for Epcot, and that takes us into part two of our part 2 of 3, and that is looking at Hollywood Studios. So
harder. This was harder.
So we're going back to Brenda for her number 5 on Hollywood Studios.
All right. Narrowing down the rides at Hollywood Studios was extremely difficult because we had to leave, you know, some really fun favorites out. I had to leave fun favorites out. There's nothing I can do about it. So my number 5 for today is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Okay.
I love that ride. It is so cute. It is so well done. I just love going through the comic scenes with them on the wacky train, and it's just really, really well done. So the only reason I couldn't put it higher is because other things took precedence, but I really enjoy that ride. So that's my number 5.
That
You
one
like
is
it?
a great
You like it
choice.
too? Yay.
Yeah.
No height requirement. So anyone can go on it, and it's really enjoyable. So keep that in mind when you go, and the line is really, really long because there's no fast pass right now. It's going to be worth your wait. So that's all I have to say about that.
Yep.
What is your number 5, Sophie?
My number 5 is actually Toy Story Mania.
Yeah.
Good choice.
I really, really love that ride. It is so fun. It's a game, and you don't usually see games interplayed into a lot of these rides. I think the only other game ride I can think of would be the Buzz Lightyear ride over in
Right.
Magic Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And obviously that doesn't hold a candle to Toy Story Mania. It never will.
Right.
Yep, I
But
totally agree. That's a
I
great
just really,
choice.
yeah.
So when you
And
get off that ride, does your arm hurt as much as mine does? Oh
Oh
my gosh, at
yeah.
the end I'm dying.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well,
Me
for me
too.
it's more my wrist than my arm. Like,
Yeah,
ow.
it's a workout. So if you're needing to get a workout on your vacation, get in that line.
Yeah.
Yep.
Work
Story
that.
Mania,
Work that arm.
that's a good one.
It's funny to me. You know, remember it wasn't that long ago
No,
when
it wasn't.
the top pick for everyone when they were getting into the park was making a beeline
Yes.
to go get a ticket fast pass for Toy Story Mania because it went so quickly. And it used to
Mhm.
be you had to make a choice. Do I send someone to go get a fast pass for Toy Story or
Mm-hmm.
do I go wait in line for the Jedi experience? You
That
know?
was, yeah, yeah.
And they had to choose. And now it's number 5 on Sophie's list, you know? And with good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's
That's how quickly
definitely
things change.
it's amazing how impressive Hollywood Studios has become as a park. As it used to be, if you spent a half day there, you
Yeah,
Mhm.
know,
you were done.
you were done. Not anymore. Not anymore at all. Any of them, in my
Yeah.
That's right.
We only spent like a half day at Hollywood Studios on our July trip, and honestly,
it was because of the heat
yeah, but there
as
was
much as any.
there was so much more we could have done.
Yeah, yeah, and the heat limited us. So, um,
Yeah.
my number 5 is also Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway,
Oh, yay.
and it's I chose it only because I've only ridden it once and I enjoyed it, but I thought it was really loud. So, like I think I said previously, if you have someone with sensory issues, maybe get a pair of headphones
Oh,
or
wow. I didn't
earbuds or
even notice it
something.
was loud.
To me, it was to me it was extraordinarily loud.
Mm.
Okay. That's a
So,
great thing. That's a great tip for people. And
yeah.
I didn't even notice it was loud. And my husband worked on a flight deck on an aircraft carrier, and he sometimes didn't wear his ear protection. So everything's higher decibels here, which is probably why I didn't notice.
Yeah.
But that's great
Yeah.
for anyone out there who needs that information. That's great to
That
know.
was the only drawback I had to it, but it won't stop me from riding it. I'll just make sure I wear my earbuds.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's great.
You
Yeah, I
know?
love it. It's really well
So,
done, right?
mhm.
Mhm.
It is cool. It is really cool.
Yeah.
So
But I'm
that's
still
my
upset
number
about
5.
the Great Movie Ride being gone.
Oh
I
yeah.
I
wish they
was
could have put
looking
this
at
somewhere
pictures of
else.
that for my background, but that's a dark ride and all my
Love the
pictures were
Great Movie
slightly
Ride.
blurred. So it wasn't they weren't as crisp as I wanted.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
Yeah.
couldn't do them justice and put them as my background.
Mhm.
Well, we miss it, but we have the memories.
Yep, we do. So Brenda,
Oh, so
number 4.
I'm gonna get
What's number
slashed
4?
for this like a tire. My number 4 is Slinky Dog Dash.
Oh my.
Uh, Slinky Dog Dash is just a family-friendly coaster. It's so much fun, and it's over in Toy Story Land. It's so precious, and it's awesome. But when I was trying to narrow down, the top ones, it was hard. It was really hard for me. But Slinky Dog is worth. I mean, like when we just went in December, and we were first, like one of the
Mm.
first people in. We went straight to Slinky Dog. We were the second people in line. So it is enough of a favorite for that. And the height requirement's 38 inches for anyone listening, but it is worth going straight to in my mind. It's just that when I was having to narrow everything down, it ended up being number 4. So it's a really loved number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well,
What is your number 4, Sophie?
I mean, you're gonna get. You're
Slash like
fine.
a tire. I love that comment.
Slash like a tire.
Slash like a tire.
Yeah, but I'm gonna get slashed even more than you because Slinky Dog Dash is not even in my top 5.
Ooh. Ooh, surprising.
I've got a
Yeah.
story about why. in a
Uh-oh.
bit. But for now, let's pass by that fact. So what's
My number
4?
4 is Smugglers Run.
There you
I hold it in equal esteem with Mission Space, even though it is a little bit more difficult, in my opinion, Smugglers Run.
Uh-huh.
But I hold it in equal esteem to Mission Space, and I really enjoy it. I want to activate Chewy mode when I go on it next.
I do too.
And for those of you who don't know how, you basically what you do is you press all the buttons before the cast member comes in to make sure that you're all buckled and all that stuff and you're good. So you push all the buttons, and then the instructor that will tell you which buttons to press gets replaced by Chewbacca. And of course, we don't speak Chewy, but
Cool.
yeah.
That is cool. Cool tip for anybody out there. And Millennium Falcon is one of those very much like Mission Space, because I hear that if you're the captain, you should not do that role at all if you have vertigo. I sat in the back when I wrote it, but I still not on my list at all. Sorry.
Yeah.
But for those that can really handle that, that's a great choice.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people love it.
Yeah.
And that's obviously each, all our lists are somewhat different, and it's cool because it just shows that we each have our own favorites, and that's what matters,
Yeah.
So just like I always say, there's no wrong answer at Disney, and that's the case here.
There is
And
no
a Disney
wrong
trip is a
answer.
very personal thing, so
yeah.
don't take advice of people who've been. Try everything at least once so you can make that decision for yourself.
So my number 4 choice is Toy Story Mania. And for much of the same reasons everyone else said, I love the game. I love how it's a computer driven system, so your game, the games they use can be switched out just like that. And you can have like a different experience. I love how there's some skill to it, and you got to kind of really make it work. And I love beating Sophie, and that's always fun. So,
Hey, Sophie, does this sound familiar? Break those plates. I am not your mother.
Yes, and even now, because someone has raised me to be such an angelic child, I always have trouble with that part.
I love that part.
Break those plates. I am not your mother. You got
That's
every ride like.
No, I don't. No.
But anyway, yeah, I just love Toy Story Mania. It's fun, and just like you, gosh, I get so tired. My arm it's like, wow, it just hurts.
Yeah.
And so my point score is usually pretty good, but my accuracy score is horrible, absolutely horrible. So.
Well, it's a lot of fun though. That is the great one.
Yeah, it is fun. All right. So Brenda, we're up to number 3 on your list.
Number 3 for me is Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. I love Rock and Roller Coaster. There's only one thing wrong with it, and if you haven't ridden it yet, it's a 48-inch height requirement. So it's one of the, I mean, you have to work up to it. I can tell you though, if you have a family member that can't ride it and they go in the line, there's a chance they're going to get a little pass that when they're tall enough, they'll be able to take their family on with them. So,
Oh,
Mm.
yeah,
cool.
that
That I didn't
that
know
happened
that.
to us. Aaliyah was in our mind, she had finally reached the height requirement, but when they measured her, she did not. I mean, she was so close, but didn't quite measure up. So they gave her a little card that said, when you come back and you're tall enough for this ride, your whole family can enjoy it with you for the first time. So I thought that was really cool. Had to say that.
That
But
is.
you're on this stretch limo, you're going through this dark indoor roller coaster with all this neon and very loud music blaring in your ear from Aerosmith. And the only thing that's wrong with this ride, and Disney has not called me back. I called them 10 years ago about it. Once it's done and you're docking, it needs to then take off backwards and go back through the whole thing again.
No.
That would make it absolutely perfect.
Yeah, except you would run into the train that's coming, or the limo that's coming
Well,
behind you.
they'd have to change it a little bit, but we could do it. I mean, the Imagineers can do anything.
Semantics, Mike.
That's
Semantics.
right. A little extra track. It'd be good. You have to
It would
admit
be
it. It'd be
good.
good.
That would be really good.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And it would make it longer.
Yes. Yes.
Because it is a short roller coaster, that's for sure.
It
Yes.
doesn't feel short.
It's
Yeah.
short.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
That-
my number 3. Sorry, Sophie. I know you don't like that one very much.
Oh yeah, no.
Not on her list.
Definitely not.
Ranks up there near Dinosaur.
I
Right? Am I right?
I actually think,
It's worse than
Uh-oh.
Dinosaur?
yeah, no, I don't know. I think if you forced me to choose, though, I would go on Dinosaur before I would go on that ride. I do not like Rock and Roller Coaster at all.
Okay.
Well, what do you like? What is your number 3?
My number 3 is right across the street from it, the Tower of Terror.
Awesome.
That is my number 3.
And it used to be number 1.
It did used to be number
Ooh.
1.
Time changes everything.
Yeah. So with the Tower of Terror, the first time I went on it was the exact same day as the second and the third time that I went on it.
Yeah.
My dad hated that ride.
I hate that ride. I still don't like it. I will tell you though, I love the backstory and I love the loading part. Give me the ride through where you're in the Twilight Zone and whatnot.
Before you
Just don't
lock
give me
in.
and don't
Don't
give me
let
the
it lock
drop.
in.
and then just send it back, to the front and I get off and I'll be happy. I don't need the drop. But it is so cool, the parts beforehand,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
and it builds that anticipation too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you're watching us on YouTube and you're looking at Sophie's picture right now, during the construction of Tower of Terror, it was struck by lightning, and that's part of the backstory. I mean, it's not purposely part of the backstory, it's just a coincidence, but
Yeah,
it does make it even more interesting.
it does.
And I've seen a YouTube video of someone walking down the street approaching Tower of Terror, and it got struck by lightning, and it was so cool to see it. I'm like,
it's not the
whoa.
first.
I think
It is as high. It's like 199.5 feet tall, and
Mhm.
it is that height because the FAA has a rule that anything 200 feet and taller has to have the little red light that flashes for aircraft, and that's why it is not 200 feet tall.
Right, because
Yeah.
they didn't
But it
want
is
that
one of the tallest
to
buildings
change the aspect of
at
it.
Disney World. Is that one? So
Mhm.
Yep.
And I
It's a good one.
think I think one of the reasons that Daddy does not like it is because the first time we rode it, he made the mistake of not tying down his camera. So a lot of the ride, he was focused on the fact that his camera was above his head.
Oh, wow.
And when we would drop down, my camera was going up, and when we go
Would
up,
have knocked you out,
camera
Mike.
would come back down. Well, it was right here, but it was. I'm like, holy cow! And so
Yeah.
I wrote it that time that Sophie wrote it 3 times in a row with
Mhm.
Cindy, and then the next year I wrote it once, and this time I left my camera on and I put my eye to the viewfinder, and I just held down my camera um to take pictures, and I just kept it held down, and it took all these pictures, and I got some really cool pictures
That
of
sounds
it
cool.
while it was going up and down, of different
Yeah.
scenes outside. So that was the only way I made it through, and I was like, you know what? I don't like it that much to have to ride it again. So it is what it is.
Is what it
Mhm.
It's not
is.
on my list, that's for
What is
sure.
number 3 on your list?
Number 3 on my list is Slinky Dog Dash. And you know
Good
what's
one.
funny about Slinky Dog Dash? This is the story I was going to tell everybody about. Slinky Dog Dash, Sophie and I and Cindy, we have never ridden it. But I've heard so many people talk about how much they love Slinky Dog Dash that I have put it on my list at number 3, and I'm planning on riding it on Saturday, April 3rd. Sophie will be at Hollywood Studios. I am
Yep.
planning on riding it that day,
Good
and
choice.
we've got to get past that, and we would have ridden it in July. It was so hot.
Just
You
get there
a
early and
lot
go
of
straight for
out
it,
in the
Mike.
open,
Head
and it was
straight
just
for it.
Mhm.
yeah. So it's on my list, and you know what? After we ride it, it might come off my list. I might say, well, that was a waste.
I don't think so.
Or I might say, I really like it. It might go higher. So who knows? But Slinky Dog Dash is on my list at
Great.
number 3.
That's impressive that it made your list when you haven't even ridden it yet.
Yeah.
That's great.
I've just heard so much about it. I'm like, I gotta try it. So
It's a good
Yeah.
one.
number 2, Brenda. I think I know what your number 1 is, but what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Star Wars Rise of the Resistance.
Okay.
Mm.
I love that ride. I think that's very well done. It has some surprises in it I won't mention, but I really, really like it. 40-inch height requirement on that one. It has a full-blown backstory, stormtroopers. I mean,
Mhm.
it is awesome.
It's
It's
practically a
excellent.
Star Wars movie in its
It
own
practically
right.
is, yes.
Yeah.
It is really, really good. I like the
Yeah.
surprises in there.
I like it too. I
Yeah.
mean, it does have everything. You know,
Yeah.
you've got the feel that you are, a recruit, and like you're living that world, and
Mhm.
Yep.
then you switch over to the ride part of it, and you do all that and everything like that, and it's
Yep.
just so
First
we've
Order
all
versus the Resistance.
yeah,
Yep.
we've only ridden it once, so we need to
Only
ride it
ridden
some
it
more.
once, but oh my gosh, if it wasn't the best thing ever that we did that day.
Yeah.
Totally awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Well,
What is your number 2, Sophie?
my number 2 is your guys' number 5.
Oh,
That is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
yeah.
I love that ride so much. At first, as we were standing in the line for it, I thought, I'm probably going to enjoy this ride, but I don't think it's going to be worth it to stand in that line again. I was wrong. I love that ride so, 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 so much. And my favorite part is actually the part I see her in rides very often.
That's true.
That's right.
And I know how much mommy loves her. So the
Yeah.
fact that she got her own entire section in the ride itself is just amazing to me. I'm so glad she's there.
Yeah.
And
Good point,
Well
Sophie.
done. Yeah.
yeah. And I love the way that they do the tracks. I love the way that they make the vehicles and the ride go. They're omni movers. They're the same things in Rise of the Resistance, so they can go anywhere in the ride at all, and it really helps with the way that the ride is meant to go. And I love it because they can make you move in certain ways. Like they can make you dance, they can make it seem like you're floating in an ocean,
Right.
all this different stuff. And it's just amazing how much they cover in just a tiny ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you're right, Sophie. They wouldn't be able to do all the stuff they do on the ride if it was a track-based system.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think you're absolutely right on that. So
Totally
Yeah.
agree with that. Yeah.
good choice, Sophie.
Yay. Very good.
Good explanation too, and
Yeah.
that makes me really want to make sure I live it to the fullest next time we ride it. So
Yeah. I
Great.
think you'll like it a lot more, even with your earbuds in.
yeah,
For sure. With his earbuds in, he'll like it more.
yeah. So
So down to Mike's number 2.
my number 2 is also Rise of the Resistance,
Yay.
and it it's so cool, and I'm glad that I have it on my list. I'm glad that we were able to enjoy it, and I can't wait to ride it again. We need to make sure we get a boarding zone pass.
Mhm.
And we'll do that for that morning. But it's just so neat to be able to do that. So it's just cool. It's just downright cool. And like we all said, it's the whole immersion of the story,
Oh
So
yeah.
so it's just neat. I'm just glad that it's there and that's able to be enjoyed by so many people. So
Mhm.
Yep. Great choice.
all right. So Brenda, top dog at Hollywood
Well,
Studios is
no
kind of
surprise
a
to anyone who's
no-brainer
ever
for
heard of
me.
me. Ever since inception, no other ride has ever been beat anywhere around Walt Disney World in my mind. The Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Always been my favorite. Nothing else has beaten it. Nothing else will, I guess. I don't know. There's something about it. I love the thrill of going up and down and up and down and not knowing what to expect because it's different every time. And I just love it. It's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah.
40-inch height requirement, anyone out there listening, but it is so fantastic. And I have a story about Tower of Terror that has absolutely nothing to do with the ride. But you know how you're standing in line and you just can't help but talk to perfect strangers that are all around you, which is part of the magic of Disney is the people.
Yeah.
I was in line for this ride. It was probably the 4th or 5th time I've ever ridden it, which was the same day as the first time I'd ridden it because I kept riding it over and over. And there was a woman in front of me, and being from Texas, I just adore like a New York accent. I love it. And there was a woman in front of me with her daughter, and she was full New York accent talking about, I cannot believe you're getting me on this ride. I can't believe I'm going to be going. I mean, she was hilarious. And when she turned around and I was talking to her and she goes, you know what really gets me is that I was sitting in my apartment in New York this morning and 2 hours later I'm in line to ride this ride.
That's
I
awesome.
That is
love her.
amazing.
I wish so much I had gotten her name because I fell in love with her. Her personality was wonderful. And that's one of the special memories is just meeting people from all over. And I just love Disney. Disney is the magic. Disney is the happiest place on earth
The
for sure.
glue that brings all these people together.
Yep. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the ride. It
Strangers.
has everything to do with Disney.
Yeah. So, two things about Tower of Terror. one, we have the same sort of story, don't we, Sophie?
We do.
Goodness.
The first time we were riding it, the first time we were in line, there in front of us was this cute little couple. They had on their hats, their ears. He was wearing his top hat ears, and she was wearing her veil ears because they were there on their honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
And Sophie and Cindy saw them, and Cindy pointed them out to Sophie and told her to say happy congratulations. And so we did, and we started talking with them, and their names are Tyler and Brienne, and they live in Edmonton, Alberta. And
Nice.
we took a
Beautiful.
picture of them and emailed the picture to them so that they
Oh,
had it for.
sweet.
And Brienne and Sophie became pen pals.
That is
Yeah.
terrific. I wish I'd have gotten this woman's address. Darn.
And
Yeah.
then and I mean it's so cool, and we're still friends with them on Facebook. So we
Mhm.
still see and we celebrate their birthdays and whatnot. But
The magic of Disney.
the other
Bringing
magic
people
is-
together. That's what
the-
Walt always intended.
Yep.
Yeah.
The other thing about Tower of Terror, Sophie and I did a podcast on September 14th. It was episode number 37. And the title of the feature topic was Disney attractions made into movies. So it's the opposite, instead of a movie that they make an attraction out of, it's an
Right.
attraction that they make a movie out of.
Right.
And in doing our research, Sophie and I learned that the Tower of Terror was the first attraction that Disney made a movie out of.
Mhm.
And it
That's
was
great.
like
That
a
was with
made
Steve
for
Gutenberg, right?
I
Steve
think
Gutenberg
so.
played the
I
guy.
think so.
Yeah.
And it was like a made for TV movie kind of
Yeah.
thing. But it was the very first one that they took an attraction already existing and made it into a movie.
Yeah.
I remember
I
that
thought that
movie.
was so cool.
Yeah.
So
Very
that
cool.
those are two little bits of info. Did you know for Tower of Terror?
Yay. Well,
So-
Sophie, what's your number one?
I'm gonna make you guess.
Oh,
Think about all of the rides that I have on my top 5 list. You've got Toy Story Mania, Smuggler's Run, Tower of Terror, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. What do you think number 1 is?
the one in my picture?
Nope, that's Smuggler's Run, and
Oh,
that's
darn.
number 4.
Yep, that was number 4. What were your top ones again? Read it one more time.
Number 5, Toy Story Mania.
Okay.
Number 4, Smuggler's Run. Number 3, Tower of Terror. Number 2, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Rise of the Resistance.
You got it.
Yay! I knew it wasn't Rock and Roller Coaster.
No.
No. It's definitely not like the Little
Rise
Mermaid
of the Resistance
show.
is a great, that is so much, it is so much
Mhm.
like, well, not so much like, but the car is a lot like Mickey and Minnie's
Yeah.
Runaway Railway. So I can see that for sure.
I love Rise of the Resistance. And I was clapping intentionally quiet. Otherwise, I would have been like that. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And the reason why is because, like I said when you were talking about it, it really is as close to living in a Star Wars movie as you can get.
That's true.
And my favorite movies, and I have a lot of favorite movies, my favorite movies are the movies that depict worlds that I want to live in. So that's why I love the Harry Potter series so much, and I love the Star Wars series, and I love all of them, is because they are worlds that I want to be immersed in and live in, and just, so yes, that's why. And that's why I love Rise of the Resistance so much, because it is the most immersive experience you get at Disney.
Yeah.
Yep. Very good.
Definitely is very
It's a
top,
very good
yeah.
ride.
And I will say that at points during the ride, I was actually kind of scared But it's a good scare because that means that the ride is doing its job and being very realistically immersed.
Exactly.
Yes, and I would love it if Disney would do virtual queues on more rides because that would be really, really great. I don't know what they're going to do when they end up bringing back Fast Pass. I don't know if it'll be the same or different, but
Yeah.
virtual queue. And I have to say that for the audience, you can get a virtual queue at 7 a.m. from your resort or wherever you are at 7 a.m. or at 1 o'clock. And I have to say, my last couple of guests that have gotten in on the queue have been at 1 o'clock. So that's the least likely one to get in on, but the last couple this week have gotten in on the 1 o'clock. So just saying, if you don't get it in the morning, try it again at 1 o'clock from inside the park. Your entire party must be inside the park. Anyone that wants to get into the virtual queue.
Yeah.
So good luck, because it is worth
Yep.
it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way to ride. You have to get the virtual queue. So
Yeah.
get your boarding pass and wait your several hours and then go on the ride.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
The big cheeses #1 is coming up, Sophie.
Yep.
We know what it is, don't we?
We do. I do, at least, because I see it right there.
Well,
I've seen his entire list, and I've just made it seem like I can't.
Oh.
So what do you think it is, Brenda?
I think it's Rock and Roller Coaster.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
What is it?
Although, that used to be, but
I know it happens.
it happens. And like, if they implemented yours, your suggestion that Disney hasn't called you back on, it would definitely be on my top of my list again.
Yay.
Because otherwise it's so short.
I know.
And I love California Screaming, which is what now? What? The
God, I hate that ride with the purple passion. Oh my God, I'm not going.
Oh, I love it.
Oh my God.
I love that ride.
But anyway, my one is Millennium Falcon, Smugglers Run.
Dang, here we go.
Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love how, to me, even more than Rise of the Resistance, you get immersed in that story. Because you are a smuggler, you're making a run, you got to get this stuff. You got the guy telling you how you did. You've got to have your people. And it's funny because the first time we rode it was July in that trip, and we were the only three in our Falcon, and so I was the captain. Sophie was the gunner.
Yeah, I think so.
And Mommy was the engineer, and I'm trying to push
a navigator, I think.
And I was trying to push both captain buttons because there's one that's like for left, right, and one for up and down or something. and considering the fact that there was only 3 of us trying to fly this thing, we actually did pretty good, I think, and we actually we weren't half bad. So, but anyway, it was so much fun. I loved it.
It was pretty fun. I think the part of it that was kind of a tiny bit of a turnoff for me is that at the end of the ride, the guy said, "You guys did absolutely horribly, and I should be charging you for the damages you did to this ship, but since I was going to pay you 100 something in order for the job, why don't we just make it break even? So I'll keep my 100 and you get absolutely nothing, and then you don't have to pay for the ship."
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah.
But it was cool. Was cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
So that wraps up this week's feature topic. It went a little long, I feel like, but it was fun. It was fun. So
it was very fun.
Next week we're going to look at Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure Park, and we're going to give our top 5 list from that, and I think that will be really cool.
Yeah, and then right after that, you guys are gone.
Yeah.
You're
We get
right.
to head out. That's so exciting.
And we'll
Mhm.
figure out a way to how we don't skip a podcast.
It's going to be great.
So,
Yeah.
but anyway, that takes us to this day in Disney history for March 22nd. Sophie, what do you got for us?
I have got something very special that happened in 1909.
Okay.
And this is something that I'm sure Miss Brenda would be able to recognize, and Daddy too. And if you were around for our Nine Old Men series, then you would probably remember this as well. But on March 22nd, 1909, the Disney legend and animator Milt Kahl was born in San Francisco, California. He is one of Walt's 9 old men. He started his career at 16 in the art department of the Oakland Post-Inquirer, later called the Oakland Tribune, doing paste-ups, layouts, and spot cartoons for $25 a week.
Wow.
Kahl first joined the Walt Disney Studios at age 25 in June of 1934. Over the next 42 years, he helped bring to life such classics as Pinocchio, Bambi, Song of the South, Alice in Wonderland, Lady and the Tramp, Robin Hood, and The Rescuers. And this is a quote from him. Animation requires a pretty good draftsman because you've got to turn things to be able to draw well enough to turn things at every angle. You have to understand movement, which in itself is quite a study.
That's for sure.
Cool.
And they spent a
Yes.
lot of time studying movement.
Yes, they
Mhm.
did.
They did.
Good
Yay!
choice.
That is a great
History.
choice.
And would you believe me if I said I completely forgot to get that tidbit of information and silently went and picked it out like halfway through this episode?
You're
I'm
supposed
not
to keep that
surprised
to
at all.
yourself.
You
I
are.
don't care.
Well, now that the cat's out of that bag,
Yeah.
let's see if we can guess who
Let's see if Sophie
my
can
Who's
guess.
Who character is this week.
All right. Looks like I'm going first.
Well, I got 3 clues.
Okay.
This character has a pet fish and a kitten. And this character wants a child.
I knew it was from Pinocchio, Geppetto.
Yes, it is definitely Geppetto.
Yay!
But you said in your guess at the beginning, you asked if it was Pinocchio. And I said no, because it's not Pinocchio, it is Geppetto.
Okay, so I wanted to make the game fair, and in the beginning I saw a page that Daddy's book was turned to, and it had Pinocchio on it, so I was like, so that's probably gonna be where it's from.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's all about having fun.
Yep.
So here's a did you know? I won't read the whole thing about Geppetto, but did you know that animator Art Babbitt, who drew such characters as Goofy and the Queen from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, once noted that Geppetto was one of his favorite characters to animate?
Hmm.
Nice.
I did not know.
Yep, well, it was. And I didn't think many people would know that. Did you know? Because he's not an animator that I know a whole lot about, and I don't know what many people do. So
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Brenda. We're looking at.
Walt quote.
You want your Walt quote? What you got for us?
I got a quote from Walt Disney right here.
Okay.
Somehow, I can't believe there are any heights that can't be scaled by a man who knows the secret of making dreams come true. This special secret, it seems to me, can be summarized in 4 C's. They are curiosity, confidence, courage, and constancy. And the greatest of these is confidence. When you believe in a thing, believe it all the way, implicitly and unquestionably. We allow no geniuses around our studio.
That's right.
Mm.
Cool. Great quote.
If somebody ever believed in something staunchly to fruition, it was Walt Disney.
That is for sure. That is for sure.
And he was against the grain constantly.
Yeah.
He
Yep.
was a visionary.
Yeah. Good job, Brenda.
Thank you.
All right. So that wraps us up for this week. Thank you guys for joining me, and thank you everyone for listening in. And we are looking forward to next week already with talking about the rides, our favorite rides at Disney's California Adventure and Disney's Disneyland Park. And I can't wait to hear what their favorites are. You know, I already know mine, sorta, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, we hope you all have a great week, and we will see you on the road. See you on the road. See you on the road. See you on the road.
Bye,
You
everyone.
ruined it.
I ruined it. Let's do that one more time.
All
we
right.
will
See
see you on the road.
That works. Put
That's
a
good
fork in
enough.
it.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.